Well, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's time to rise and grind here on this Monday morning. It is January 6th. It is the first Monday here in the year 2025. And we got a lot going on across the sports world. We already have two NFL coaches that have been fired as of today. Gerard Mayo with the New England Patriots gone after one season, and about an hour or so ago, the Jaguars get rid of Doug Peterson after 3 seasons there in Jacksonville. The NFL regular season wrapped up yesterday, and we saw some really good matchups, including a dominating performance by the Detroit Lions, winning over the Minnesota Vikings to go ahead and clinch the number one seed in the NFC, finishing 15-2 on the year. We'll talk about that a little bit later. Also, a matchup that happened during that day was the New Orleans Saints and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, in which the Saints lost, which secured them a top 10 pick, the number 9 overall pick to be exact. And it's pretty interesting. The Saints are in this position, especially with the way that they started the year, starting things off 2-0. I think they scored like 91 points within those first two games, and everyone was saying like these guys are true contenders. And then out of nowhere, they lose 7 games. They fired Dennis Allen, and here we are with a 5-12 finish for the Saints. So currently, if I can get it pulled up, this is what the draft order is looking like. You got the Tennessee Titans at 1. You got the Cleveland Browns at 2, New York Giants at 3, Patriots 4, Jaguars 5, Vegas 6, the Jets 7, Carolina 8, and then the Saints there at 9. Chicago follows at 10. The 49ers, Cowboys, Dolphins, Colts, Falcons, Arizona, and the Bengals, and then Seattle. So when you're looking at this, if I'm in this position as the Saints, everybody's going to say go get quarterback. But if you look at this, Tennessee needs a quarterback. So they're probably going to take either Cam Ward or Shedeur Sanders. The Giants need a quarterback. They're going to take either Cam or whichever one of the two is left. The Patriots have their guy. The Jaguars have their guy. Vegas needs a quarterback. The Jets probably need a quarterback because they're going to probably move on from Aaron Rodgers. Bryce Young is there in Carolina. So before you even get a chance to make a pick, 4 quarterbacks will be off the board. I don't think that a quarterback is the first round move that the Saints need to make. I think instead of trying to go quarterback, the Saints need to go and get a pass rusher. Cam Jordan is near the back half of his career. I think he just signed an extension not too long ago to go ahead and be able to finish his career off there with the Saints, but there's no guarantee that the Saints will keep him through this offseason. And so because of that, I think your succession plan needs to start this year. You need to go get a pass rusher. Obviously, you have Abdul Carter out of Penn State. That is Mel Kiper's current top-ranked guy as an off-ball, or as a outside linebacker on the board. But I'm looking at a guy that he might not truly be a first-round grade, but he's extremely good. I'm looking at a guy in James Pierce out of Tennessee, who has 19 career sacks, that has played extremely well in his career and has looked very strong. I was looking at his numbers a little bit earlier, and he's got good size to him, 6'5", 243 pounds. He had 7.5 sacks this year. He had 9.5 last year, 3 forced fumbles in his career. So a very talented young man. I think from there, you can probably go and get you an offensive tackle or maybe even another pass catcher, receiver to add to the mix of Chris Olave and Rashid Shaheed that you already have there in the mix. But I think this is a big offseason for the Saints coming up. I think that you obviously have to get a new head coach. And like I've said numerous times before in the past, from the day that Dennis Allen was let go, I said that your job is now to go and get Aaron Glenn. I know people are saying that we need to go and get an offensive minded coach and all of these things and that. And people have said Ben Johnson and all of these other names. I've even seen John Gruden's name being thrown in the mix, which that's neither here nor there. But you need somebody there that, number one, understands the culture. Number two, understands the level of expectation that the franchise has had in the past and wants to get back to. And also somebody that has built up a strong culture in the place that they've been. He checks all the boxes. Aaron Glenn was a part of the staff when Sean Payton was there. He was there when they were at some of their best years in the 2010s. And what he's done with that Detroit defense, which again, we'll talk about that a little bit later, what he's done with that defense in the amount of short period of time that the Lions have accumulated all of the stars that they have, what he's been able to do is phenomenal. And his name has been linked to several jobs, including the Saints and Jets. And I saw here on Get Up, that's on my TV in front of me, that his name has been linked to a couple other jobs as well. And they will put in requests to interview him. And he's rightfully deserving of that opportunity. He's earned it. And if I'm the Saints, I'm giving it a serious consideration to Aaron Glenn being my next head coach. And you see where you go from there. I also believe you bring Clint Kubiak for another year because he's shown that he can get creative offensively. He just didn't have a full arsenal to work with in an entire season. And yes, there's no such thing as a perfect season where everybody's going to be healthy. But my God, I think from week 3 and beyond, buku different rotations on the offensive line, receivers in and out of the lineup. Like Chris Olave had a concussion almost every other week. Let's see what he can do when he has a full year of all of the offensive weapons that he can possibly utilize. And let's go from there. So get Aaron Glenn, get you a pass rusher in the first round, get you maybe an offensive tackle, a wide receiver, and then build up a few other pieces here and there around that. Because I think offensively, you're fairly strong on the offensive line. You got Trevor Penning, you got Cesar Ruiz, you got Eric McCoy, you got Fuaga from last year. You might just need another tackle. Maybe you go in free agency and get somebody, or maybe, like I said, you even draft in the second or third round. You go and get maybe an Emory Jones that could still be there out of LSU, pick him up and add him as a piece there to your offensive line. You got Alvin Kamara still there for a couple more years. But maybe you need to look maybe later in the draft and go and get somebody. Cam Scatterboo could still be there. Hey, and what he's done, the performance that he's been able to put on, what he did in the college football playoff was commendable. So the Saints get the number 9 overall pick in the NFL draft, and we will keep our eyes on that as we inch through this offseason coming up. Obviously, the playoffs are starting up next week. And with the playoffs starting next week, we have the number 1 seed that has officially been clinched. The Detroit Lions last night absolutely curb stomping the Minnesota Vikings to clinch the number 1 seed. And like I said, hats off to Aaron Glenn and what he's done with that Lions defense over the past few years, the way that he's gotten them ready to play and the way that they've shined in big games in prime time. 31-9 victory for the Lions in a game where they put Sam Darnold in handcuffs, basically. He wasn't able to get anything done. Even Justin Jefferson, and I know that because he's on my fantasy team, even though I won a championship. Jetta's only had 3 receptions, 54 yards. Sam Darnold, 18-41. Horrible completion percentage, 166 yards. There were multiple times where the Vikings were in the red zone and went for it on 4th down and did not convert. And that's, once again, a credit to Aaron Glenn and what he has done for that defense. But an even bigger headline out of that game was the job that running back Jahmyr Gibbs did. 23 carries, 139 yards, 3 touchdowns on the ground, and a 4th through the air on an angle route. 5 catches, 31 yards for him. 4 total touchdowns. He is the league leader in touchdowns with 19. Just a phenomenal back. And Detroit is pretty dangerous still, despite the fact that the injury bug has absolutely destroyed them throughout the season. Um, they have earned the number one seed, rightfully so. So now they get an opportunity to sit back and rest for a week, and then get to play against an opponent. Um, I think this game more so says about what could happen to Minnesota as they kind of inch their way into the playoffs, more so than what it was about the Lions, because we knew the Lions defense was fire. Like we already knew that. That's no that's no surprise. But for the Vikings coming in 14-win team, the worst thing that you want to do is to close out the regular season in a fashion like that. And now you have to turn around and play next week in a wild card game. And you're going to have to go on the road as the 5 seed. You're going to have to go and play against a Rams team that rested their starting quarterback, that could potentially look good going into that week. Let's see if I can pull up the playoff schedule. I know I was looking at it a little bit earlier, to see all of the dates and times for, let's see, NFL playoff schedule. Let's see. Wild card. Stop sharing that screen. And let's start sharing this screen. Share screen. There we go. So I don't know if this is blown up enough, but we can do this. Yeah, that'll work. So we got the Chargers and the Texans. God, I feel like the Texans play in the 3:30 slot almost every year that they've made the playoffs. They kick us off. CBS playing the Chargers. That's going to be a really good game between two young quarterbacks, Justin Herbert and CJ Stroud. And then third installment of the Ravens Steelers matchup will be on Prime Video that night, in a wild card matchup. And then Sunday it will be a triple header: Denver and Buffalo. I think Buffalo is going to be able to handle business in there. Just in, the Cincinnati Bengals fired their defensive coordinator, rightfully so, because they were atrocious. And then also Green Bay plays Philly. That could be interesting after Jordan Love hurt his hand there in their game against the Chicago Bears to close out the year. Obviously, he's going to play because it's a playoff game, unless it's a completely messed up, fractured hand. Brother's going to play, but that'll be an interesting thing to look at. And then the nightcap, the Commanders with soon to be offensive rookie of the year, Jaden Daniels, and probably not a comeback player of the year, but one of the more improved players across the league, and Baker Mayfield and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers will close out the night. They're on NBC. And then the Monday night game, like I said, Minnesota and LA going at it. They're on Monday night. So your number one seeds, the Kansas City Chiefs in the AFC, and then the Detroit Lions in the NFC. This is going to be a fun playoff, especially wild card weekend. Like I said, I don't see a whole lot of matchups that are just absolutely this team is going to win, other than maybe Buffalo. If Josh Allen loses to Denver, then forget about MVP conversation. I think Pittsburgh and Baltimore will be a very interesting one, because when you play a team 3 times, I believe they have split that series this season. Let's pull it up. We got the numbers. Yes, they did split it. So they beat the Steelers. They beat the Steelers to round out the year. And then earlier in the year, they lost to the Steelers. So yeah, man, that's going to be a really good one. And like I said, on the Fitz Take podcast, which will drop at 2:00 today, I stated my case for Lamar Jackson to be the MVP. But I also said that he has to show and prove, not just to make a deep postseason run, but he's going to have to go and win it. He is going to have to go and get to the Super Bowl and win the Super Bowl to finally solidify himself, because there are just a handful of two-time MVPs in the history of the league, and all of them have Super Bowls. Lamar already has 2. If he has 3, he for sure has to get a Super Bowl under his belt. So we shall see. Like I said, the Lions dominate and clinch the number 1 seed, and the playoffs are set to start along with the college football playoff. Really, man, like that Thursday to Monday span that you got some pretty good matchups there every single day with some postseason implications and championship aspirations rolling down the stretch. So the last topic that we're going to hop into this morning as we're starting our day is Tyreek Hill wanting out of Miami. This brother has been pretty frustrated these past couple of weeks because he believes that he should be in a better situation based upon the fact of the type of player he is. And he is a great caliber player. But essentially after the game was over, he said he wanted out. And the way that he said it, it was pretty evident that that he wasn't playing and that he wasn't lying. If I could get it pulled up, then I'll let y'all listen to it. Yeah, here we go. I'm out, bro. It's like, so he comes up and he says,
I haven't been in the playoffs, man. So, I mean, for me, like I said, man, I just gotta do what's best for me and my family. That's here, that's wherever the case may be, man. I'm finna open that door for myself, as I'm opening the door. Like I'm out, bro. You know, so it was great playing here, but if it is, hey, yes. This is my first time I haven't been in the playoffs,
out,
man.
bro.
So, I mean, for me, like I said, man,
he said, "I'm out, bro."
for me and my family, dog.
Like, when somebody says that, they mean business. They're not lying. They're not playing around. They mean it. Obviously, the Dolphins miss out on the postseason this year. They lost to the Jets yesterday, 32-20. They finished the year 8-9. Tyreek Hill doesn't finish with 1,000 yards receiving. And it was just a up and down year for the Fins. Obviously, they had a lot of potential in their offensive prowess. Obviously, you have Tua Tagovailoa, you have Devon Achane at receiver, Tyreek, Jalen Waddle, that gauntlet of receivers that they had, and it just wasn't able to come together. And we have heard of players being pretty vocal about what they want in their career and how soon or how quickly they want to get out. It is pretty black and white that he wants out of Miami. But also Mike McDaniel in post kind of alluded to the fact that Tyreek could have quit on his team or could have given up or whatever. See if I can get that pulled up too, and we'll listen in on that. And if that's the case, like, bro, I don't care how bad you want to get out of a situation. You can't give up on your brothers. Them your dudes, you know what I'm saying? Those are guys you bleed with, that you work hard with every single day. And no matter how you feel about your personal situation, it can get to the point where you're just going to tap out and say that I'm not going back into the game. I don't know. That would change the whole conversation. Like, Daniel. That would change the whole conversation, because now it's less about you wanting something and more about you not getting your way and just wanting to just do it in whatever you want to do. Like you want to have your way, so you're gonna make it happen. Let's see. So we got Mike McDaniel here. There you go. Let's listen, man. Oh, no audio. Oh, there we go. Let's turn it up. There we go.
I was informed that he was unavailable right before a drive. I was not informed that it was a new injury, and I think at that point in time, my focus was on the players, and I didn't take the time to go try to figure out more into that. Just there was guys on the field that were competing, and we were trying to win a game, so my focus was there.
There were guys on the field competing, and that's where my focus was. My God, today, if that ain't underlying said that this brother gave up, so I'm focused on the dudes that didn't give up, I don't know what is. And after hearing that soundbite, like, I am for players being in the best position in their careers, but brother, you can't quit. Like, at the end of the day, you are a professional. It is your job every single day, win, lose, or draw, for better or for worse, whatever. You signed an agreement saying that you were going to give 100% your best. And the thing is, too, you left Kansas City wanting an opportunity to, quote unquote, prove that you're the guy. And I get it. They didn't want to give you all of what you wanted monetarily, so you stepped away to go get the best opportunity. And rightfully so, you should be paid whatever money you want. But you chose this. You chose this opportunity. You chose where you wanted to go. You signed with this team. And because it didn't pan out, you going to throw your hands up and just quit on your team like that? I don't know, man. I don't know. It's kind of a bad look on a guy like Tyreek. So we'll see how that pans out. Ultimately, I think that he'll be out. I don't know if he'll force his way out. I don't know how it will close out, but we'll see. How can he get out with a $30 million cap hit? He can request a trade for sure. I don't know how that works on the money side of things, but that's about as clear as you could get that he wants out. Shout out, thank you, Lloyd, for the comment. Y'all talk to me in the comments too if you had any questions or want to keep the conversation going. But Tyreek Hill wants out of Miami after their finish of 8-9 on the season. So guys, like I said, we got a really, really good lineup of sports coming up over the next couple of days. Once Thursday hits, the college football playoff, you got the Final Four of Penn State, Ohio State, Notre Dame, and Texas. Who comes out of that is to be seen. Like I said, I discussed talking about that on the Fitz Take podcast, which that episode will be dropping over on that YouTube channel and wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. That'll be dropping at 2:00 today, where we talked about who had the most impressive win in the quarterfinals, and then also who has the best chance to win it all in the end in the CFP. So yeah, if there's nothing else, no other comments or conversations there, we're gonna go ahead and end this thing, guys. I thank y'all so much for the ones that did hop in. I got this streaming there on my Facebook page and also my YouTube channel. Y'all go ahead and smash the like button and follow me on Facebook, and also subscribe to the channel. Like I said, I don't know if this is going to be an every morning thing just because of how crazy and hectic my schedule can be as a sports guy. But I'll do this as many mornings as I possibly can. We will rise and grind together and get ready for the day, as it's 8:54 here on this Monday morning. Once again, I appreciate y'all so much for hopping in and checking in with me for a couple of minutes as you're getting your day started or already might be having your day started. I appreciate y'all so much for tapping in with me and supporting the content that we're producing each and every day. So with that, y'all have a good day, and I'll see y'all next time.